Hi guys, Korpen here. On popular demand, I'm going to talk a little bit about the upcoming patch and the tanks, as well as some of the planes. I'm not really a big plane guy. I do like planes, and I do like flying them, but I'm not a plane fan. However, I am a tank nut, and I really do love tank history, so that is what I'm focusing on this channel. I will obviously bring in a plane every now and then, but my main focus will always be tanks or other kinds of strategy games, and maybe I'll throw in a different game as a sort of a flavor every now and then. But today we are going to focus on the upcoming patch and the tanks that I'm looking forward to trying out in the upcoming patch that will be out soon. And this is my main focus for today. This is the tank I've been waiting for ever since I saw the first tank tree, or the first draft for the first tank tree in War Thunder. And I instantly thought, okay, but where's the Nashorn? You know, the Nashorn needs to be in the game because more than 200 of them were used during World War II. And now finally it's here. I am going to try out this tank instantly. I'm going to grind for this tank right away, because why? Well, I think this tank is going to be somewhat of a beast. It's going to be an ambush specialist, you know, and a sniper. In history, that is what it was in World War II. It was used in Italy as well as on the Eastern Front, mainly on the Eastern Front, because that was where they needed the big and heavy guns. You know, the Shermans could be dealt with in other ways than using a long barrel 88 gun. But the Brits had heavy tanks, so they needed these in Italy as well. By 1944, they had other tanks that used the same gun, and they had better tank destroyers. This was a stopgap measure. What makes it so good as a sniper? The first and most obvious thing is that it carries, or it uses, the same armament as the King Tiger, as well as the Jagdpanther and the Ferdinand. It has the long barrel Pak 43 88mm tank cannon. It's the same gun with probably the same ammo as well. I'm kind of doubting that this tank that the Nashorn will get APCR ammo, but it doesn't need APCR ammo. The stock Panzergranat ammo for the Pak 43 will just shred any tank that it will face, including the heavy British tanks. The Churchill Mark 7 will have a big issue with this tank, because this gun can basically one-shot more or less all tank. Have a look at my Tiger video and see how the short-barreled 88, the predecessor to this thing, this is the second generation, how the short-barreled 88 fares when it goes up against T-34 85s, for example. So, the SD II-S.16 Nashorn, or German for Rhino, it's a self-propelled gun, and it has an open cabin, so this thing, the Nashorn, will be very vulnerable to artillery. So do watch out for artillery in this when you're using this tank, and you do need to take care not to run into AAA vehicles as well, because you won't basically have any armor whatsoever. And planes will be a big deal as well, a huge source of problem for you, since you have an open top tank where all the crew except for the radio operator and the driver will be visible. So that means that all the crew in the superstructure might be killed by automatic fire. So that is a big problem for this tank, obviously. But the sweet thing with this tank is that it's going to be sitting at the rank 3, so I'm guessing it's going to be at the top of rank 3, but it doesn't matter. The Nashorn will be able to face any kind of opposition that it faces and defeat them. This is not an attacking weapon. You should not attack with this tank, because it's a defensive weapon through and through. So you should use it as an ambusher, and you should snipe from afar. The further away you are, the better. You know, start firing at 2,500 meters if you have the chance. You know, this gun will probably be able to deal with T-34s at that range. So that is what makes this tank so good. And yeah, down here you can see that it's coming in the update 1.57. So that's cool. What else? Oh yeah, Albert Ernst was a Panzer Ace during World War II on the Eastern Front. He was the commander of one of these tanks, where he served during 1944 and 1943, and they used this tank, him and his platoon, and they loved it because this gun allowed them to engage targets at 2,000 meters, to start firing platoon-wise against separate targets at 2,000 meters. They would be able to knock out companies of T-34s before they could even get to a range where they could answer the fire. And if they answered the fire, they would miss by a country mile, you know. So yeah, that really tells a story about how good this thing is and how good the gun on it is. After 1944, they sort of phased out the Nashorn, and they used the guns for the Jagdpanther instead. I'm not sure, but it would make sense if they continued to produce these, as long as they did produce the Panzer III as well as the Panzer IV chassis, because those were the chassis that were used to make this tank, or tank destroyer. And oh yeah, I said I would talk a little bit about the other tanks coming out in the patch. I think that the KV-1S has a natural place on the Russian tank tree. I do look forward to it. I will of course unlock it and play it. A more lightly armored KV-1, yeah, why not? It did see service during World War II in hundreds, if not almost 1,000 of them were made. I'm not sure about the numbers, so don't quote me on that. But yeah, they were used in and around the battle for Stalingrad, for example, and after that, until they basically had no more KV-1Ss, and they sort of swapped them out for KV-85s and IS-1s. And after that, once the KV-85s and the IS-1s were all put out of action, or consumed, if you will, they made way for the IS-2s and the IS-2 Mod 44s, who saw tanks that saw service until the end of the war. Yeah, so it has a natural place on the tank tree. What I'm seeing that doesn't have a natural place on the tank tree is the T-44-100. I'm a bit of a tank conservative. I don't want tanks on the tank tree that didn't saw service during World War II. For me, it's fine if they are premiums, and I do understand why there has to be a Tiger II with a 105mm gun and a Panther II on the German tank tree, but I don't like it. I would much rather see the T-44-100 as a premium tank, to be honest. A rank 5 premium tank. Because it does have the same gun that the T-54 has, so it will definitely be able to compete at rank 5. I do not doubt that. But it will of course be at the rank 4 bracket. Another tank that is also at the rank 4 bracket is the Tiger II S.16. The upgraded version of the Tiger II with a Henschel turret, also up armored. And the engine is using a diesel engine, which makes for a better, more durable machine. A diesel engine has a harder time freezing and just breaking apart during war time use, And it can also often take a direct hit without catching fire, something that the German tanks had the problem with, since they were run on gasoline. And gasoline, if it takes a direct hit, will burst into flames and it will explode. It will cause a catastrophic failure. Whereas diesel isn't all that flammable. It takes some force to put it to fire. But once it starts burning, it will burn, of course. It is flammable. So yeah, what tank have I missed? No, I think I covered all of them. I'm not particularly looking forward to the Tiger II S.16 and the T-44-100 being implemented into the game. However, I can see how the Tiger II S.16 will be an absolute beast in the game, with an additional 30mm of armor at the front of the turret and all round, as well as spaced armor on the sides. That is going to be one hell of a tank, I tell you that much. And since it does use the same gun as the Nashorn, well, I think it's going to be a good tank. I don't doubt that. But since some other YouTubers are saying that the Tiger II S.16 is going to be much faster, I don't think so. You know, 30mm of armor all around the turret. It will need those extra horsepower in that engine. Maybe the traverse rate on the hull will be better, but you know, 30mm of armor all around the turret, that makes for some pretty substantial additional weight to the tank. So yeah, I kind of doubt that it will be faster. It might be a bit more mobile, but I'm not sure. I don't think so, really. So anyway, since I think that I've covered all the tanks so far, I thank you very much for watching. Hope that you enjoyed this video. And if you haven't subscribed already, don't forget to do that. And I'll see you guys around in the next video. Thank you for watching and have a good evening.